Welcome back, everybody. We are live for the last session where we'll be having Coach Jola Grace. Coach Jola Grace is called a soul doctor. Find out from this session why she is called the soul doctor, right? Find out from this session. She is an amazing woman, amazing speaker who have dealt with personal trauma and will be teaching us on how to deal with childhood trauma and how to break negative patterns. So make sure you share the link with someone, tell someone to tell someone to tell someone. We want everybody to be here. We want to see everybody, parents, intending parents, significant adults, right? Because we're talking childhood trauma. And in this part of the world, I can tell you for free that if there's a challenge that everyone is dealing with, at least 80% of people are dealing with, it is childhood trauma. I'm telling you. So when we come for sessions, or when parents approach me for sessions, we start to excavate the foundation so that the person will know that what you're dealing with or what you're battling with now as a parent is not just what you're seeing. It has its roots from how you were raised, your childhood experiences, your childhood trauma and baggages that you have been carrying over and over in the ages, right? So we are dealing with it in this session. And we'll go further to talk about negative patterns, how to break out of negative patterns, right? One of the things that have added to the struggle, of many adults today is also coming from negative patterns that raised many of us. A lot of us are coming from negative patterns that have kept us stuck as adults. And when we deal with these things, many times we don't even know what the problem is. You have heard things over and again. You have heard you're stupid, you're crazy, you're mad, you're this, God will punish you from your mother or your father or your caregiver while you were growing up. And then you are now an adult who have low self-esteem, who is battling with low self-esteem, no confidence. You feel everybody is better than you. Like a lot of things are ringing in your head. You don't even know what you're dealing with, and you are struggling, praying over things and all that. It is actually coming from the roots. That's why in this session, nobody should miss it. Whether you're a parent or not, whether you're intending or not, whether as long as you're an adult, you need to be here. You need to be here because we are dealing with a topic that affects everybody, especially if you were raised in this part of the world where I was also raised, right? So we need to get in here to have this conversation, ask your questions on negative patterns, how to break out of it, and how to also deal with your childhood trauma. Coach Jola Grace Emmanuel will be hosting us, will be feeding us as we host her on this platform, and it's going to be an amazing ride. And if you are the first parent to join, I'm already seeing people joining. Please put in the comments, let me know that you're already here and have joined. We have gifts for parents who are or participants who are the first to join. We have gifts ranging from books to booking of slots, 10 slots for parents of the Build Your Home Tribe 2025, registration of the booking of slots, which is 5,000 naira. We can see it on the screen scrolling. That 5,000 naira will be waived off for any parents who gets this amazing gift from us. The Academy have put out range sorry the Academy have put out books, put out gifts ranging from books and slots and many other things. We have been sharing it in our platforms, and we want you to grab these gifts, right? So if you are this person who came first, second in this session, let me see in the comments that you're here. Let me see in the comment that you're here so that we can send your gift across to you, right? While we wait for our speaker of today, of this session, who is going to be also the last speaker of the session of today, Please make sure you're sharing the link, you're inviting people, you're telling parents in your children's school, parents in your church program, parents in your groups, you know, family, relatives. You're already sharing with them. Let them come and be part of this. It's going to be a huge blessing for everyone who will be part of this, right? You listening to Kojola Grace will bless you this evening. So please share the link, share with everyone around you, share on your status, let people know that you are part of this banquet. Do not hold it to yourself. Make sure you are learning with others, right? And if you've not booked your slot for the tribe 2025, I don't know where you want to be in 2025. If you're raising children, raising young children, and you are not in the Build Your Home tribe, right? We want you to be in that journey, on that journey with us. I beg your pardon. I want you to be on that journey with us. That's where everything you'll be learning in this conference will make sense to you. If you're not in the tribe, you will not understand many of the things that are being shared in this conference, right? Everything that we have been sharing on, all the knowledge we've been feasting on in this past 5 days, it will either confuse you or not make sense to you because you will be thrown off balance. But people in the tribe can connect to everything that is being shared because that's where we break down every learnings that we have. In the tribe is where the real deal is. That's where the learning is. That's where we break down this learning into processes and pick them as we go with our children. So book your slot, book your slot. Don't sit back and just procrastinate. Book your slot immediately for 2025. Build your home tribe and make sure you are in the tribe, before you're already booked in before the end of this month. Because after the end of this month, we'll be having a fee review that will kick off September 1st. And that fee review will not affect anybody who have booked his or her slot. Do not come to the tribe alone. If you have been in this conference, you have listened to different speakers, you already know that there's a challenge. You already know there's a work to do. You already know that the work is enormous. And the only place where we can handle this work and get to the society is the home. That's the nucleus of the society. So you already know. And that's why we don't want you to come alone to the tribe. We want you to come with your spouses. We want you to come with your family members. We want you to come with your friends. Invite everyone. Invite everyone that is in your life. Because the truth remains that if you're learning and everyone in your circle is not learning, you are neither here nor there because they are going to be the people who would thwart the things you're doing with your children and the process of your journey. You need to get everybody to be on the same pedestal with you, your parenting partners, for instance, your children's teachers in their school, your friends, your family members who they will definitely be visiting or be staying together with at some point as they are growing, right? So all of these learnings will make sense if the people in your life are also learning with you. That's the only way. We won't have to be explaining and explaining, and you won't have to be struggling to put things to perspective or struggling to get people who are around you to understand what you're doing, right? Your structure and your system involves these people. So you must understand that they are part of your parenting partners that you need to get on board with. So make sure that you're coming to the tribe with other people that are your parenting partners. And this will help you a great deal. Thank you for joining, and make sure you register for the Build Your Home Tribe 2025. Book your slots in this month of August so that our fee review will not affect you from September 1st. Welcome again and sit back. It is be more. Be more. That's the theme, and that's what we are speaking to. Be more. Planting, rooting, and uprooting. In this 5 days, I know that a lot of things are shifting in our minds, shifting in our heads, shifting in our mentality because of the things that have been planted in us in the past, the things that have been rooted in us, the things that we are also planting now unknowingly or ignorantly, and the things that we are also rooting and the things we need to uproot. I see a lot of parents put in the comments at sessions, there's a work to be done, there's challenge, there's this, there's that. That's people already stirred up to uproot the things that they don't want to see. So in this journey of becoming, we must be planting, we must be rooting, and we must be uprooting. It is a journey, it is a process, and we need to understand that. Jesus. Can't on the lights. On it. Sorry about that. Nigeria happened to me. And I'm trying to get something done about it. Sorry about that. While we wait for our speaker, while we wait for our speaker, I was talking about the routine and the uprooting that needs to happen and is already happening and stirring the minds of participants. So please get everyone to be here, get everyone to join you, get everyone to be on board with you. Our speaker will be here in a moment. She has already stepped in, but she had to step out to get something done. So please be here and make sure that everyone is here with you, right? Okay, okay, okay. So in the past 5 days, I know that a lot of things have also been registered in the hearts of participants. And I know that a lot of people are looking forward to become more proactive, more intentional in this journey. A lot of people have reached out to me, sharing their gratitude on the journey so far within the past 5 days, right? And all of this, I keep telling everyone, it is not just for it to stir an awakening in our minds. In that awakening, what will you be doing to be more? What is it that you will be doing? There's a work to be done, and it starts from you. That inner work is the things we do in the tribe. That's why we want you to come into the tribe and start the journey. The journey hasn't started yet. With this conference, we are only stirring and awakening in our minds and in our families to know that we need to wake up. We need to wake up. So that's what the conference is about. It's just a stirring tool for awakening. So the work of what have been awakened will be done as we journey in the tribe. 1 full year of learning, of unlearning and relearning. And part of the things that the parents of the tribe enjoy is that they have sessions every month that bring them face to face to their personalized need with the webinars that addresses these things. And one of the things again is that people like these experts in this conference will also be coming up in sessions and in webinars to share personalized need of the tribers. We have a lot of juices that we share in our platforms, for parents to know that being in the tribe is actually empowering you as a parent. It's not just about your children. So by the time you come into the tribe, you start seeing that the work is your work. The work is your job. Like it is you who will be who will be pruned, who will be trained to train your children. It is a whole lot. We've listened to a lot of sessions. We've listened to a lot of mind-blowing sessions that calls up an awakening in our minds. And that's what we're advocating, that parents of young children join this community and begin to walk a journey that will elevate them to know that this journey it is, they are the leaders leading the children, and the children can only learn to lead themselves when they have seen you lead them, right? So welcome again. Our speaker is here already. Welcome again. We'll be bringing her up, and as soon as we bring her up, I can't see anything in the comments at the moment. I want to know people who have joined. Okay, okay, I'm seeing now. I'm seeing none. Jane, welcome. Thank you for joining. Good to see you in the last session of the day 5. Can you hear me? Please indicate in the comment that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Please indicate. Let me know that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. Princess, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? I want to be sure that you're hearing me before the speaker gets on the stage. Oh, great, great, great. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Okay, everyone can hear me. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let me check again. The speaker was booted out. Let me check again. Okay, she's here. Our speaker is here. And again, ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Coach Jola Grace Emmanuel. A standing ovation, a standing ovation, a standing ovation. Oh my God, what's happening with her network? One minute, please. Let me see why she's off again. 1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. Stay tuned. This woman is one person that I love to listen to on the issue of trauma and issue of negative patterns. I'm trying to see why she's off again. Okay, Coach Jola is here. Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Coach Jola Grace Emmanuel. A standing ovation. We
Good
have a
evening.
long-awaited session is here.
Good
Welcome, Ma. We've read your profile and we've been waiting for you. Good to see you.
evening.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for joining us and thank you for honoring this invitation. It's such an honor. I do not take it for granted at all. We are grateful. Thank you so much, ma. So
Thank you
we'll
for
be leaving the stage for you, and you take up the station from here.
awesome, awesome. Not a problem. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? You can hear me well, and you can see me well. If you can hear me and you can see me, I would like to you to just give me a thumbs up in the comment section. I like to be very interactive, so I would be expecting your feedback from time to time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. So you can see me and you can hear me well. Just put in the comment section that you can see me and you can hear me well. If you can see me and you can hear me well, let me know that in the comment section. I'm so excited, to be with you guys tonight. I've been following in and out all week, and I must say you are doing a phenomenal, phenomenal job. Well done, Coach Vivian, for putting this together. It's important for us to understand that the things that happen to us in childhood goes a long way to affect the kind of adults we grow up to become. And so tonight, I've been given the topic, breaking free, from childhood trauma, breaking childhood trauma, and then breaking the negative circles of childhood trauma. And, I'm just going to be going deep into it because I know that I have about 45 minutes. So, yes, we are just going to be, going through all of that this evening. And so I can't see any comments in the chat box. So, all right. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. I was in the wrong place. Now I can see. All right. Awesome. 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 Brilliant. Good to see you. Amy, good to see you, Princess. Rebecca, good to see you. Awesome. 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 So let's start from the very, very beginning. Excuse me. Let's start from the very beginning, because if we're talking about trauma, we actually need to know what trauma is, right? A lot of times I hear people use the word loosely. Oh, I'm traumatized. I've been so, oh my God, I'm so traumatized. I've been so traumatized. And I'm like, sometimes when you use a, a, a an important word, let me say a serious word in joking manner, sometimes it makes you lose the actual meaning of that word, right? So if anybody comes out and say, I've been traumatized, right? The fact that you can say you've been traumatized means that there was an event. Something happened that caused the trauma. So you had a long day at work, you were in traffic, and it was such a bad traffic, and you're back home and you're tired, or you just had, a lot of customers, disturbing you all day and say, oh my God, I'm so traumatized. No, you're not traumatized. You just had a hard day. Right. So trauma is not difficulties in life. Trauma is actually a response to a deeply distressing or disturbing event. So before you can say, oh, I've actually experienced trauma, I've been traumatized, that means you went through an event that was distressing or disturbing. And then this event then overwhelms your ability to cope with normal day-to-day activities, because there's a certain way we're supposed to react to the things that happen to us every day. But when you've been traumatized, your reaction changes. So, for instance, somebody maybe on a normal day, something has happened to you, you've gone through an overwhelming event or a disturbing event, and somebody looks at you and is trying to greet you and be nice and say hi to you, and they didn't realize that you just experienced a loss. The way you will respond to that person will be different from the person that hasn't experienced any kind of trauma or any loss or anything like that. So it overwhelms your ability. It limits you from reacting to the things that you react to on a day-to-day basis. It can also cause a feeling of helplessness, a feeling of hopelessness. It will also diminish the way you see yourself. And so this evening, we're actually looking at childhood trauma and how we can overcome the negative patterns that we experience as a result of childhood trauma. Okay, so I want you to just stay tuned, stay tuned. If there's anybody you think that needs to be here, I would just say this is the time to invite them to join us in this session this evening. Right, so that is what childhood trauma is, right? And see, trauma will affect your thoughts, it will affect your emotions, it will affect your behavior. So I normally say that man is a tripartite being. You are three in one. You have a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body. whether you are male or you are female, as long as you're a human being. Your spirit, your soul, you live in the body. Now, your soul consists of your will, your mind, and your emotions, right? And when you get hurt, when you experience trauma, it will affect your soul. So, trauma is like a wound in your soul. A wound has been inflicted on your soul. And it doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, where you live, where you were born. At one point in time in your life, you will experience one form of trauma or the other. And that is why I say to people, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay for, a lot of times I was sharing yesterday that when somebody asks you, how are you? We think that how are you is just a greeting. And so it's like call and response. How are you? Fine. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Just all those things. But how are you is not a greeting. It's actually when we do it the way we're supposed to do it, is checking on how you are doing. And it's okay to say, I'm not good. When was the last time somebody asked you, how are you? And you weren't really good, and you just said, fine. It's like default, fine. But are you really okay? Sometimes it's when they ask you the second time or the third time, they say, actually, I'm not really good. But it's okay not to be okay. There's nothing to be ashamed of, right? If you are not okay because you've experienced some form of trauma or another. Now, so let's look at childhood trauma. Childhood trauma, of course, will disrupt the normal development and growth of the child, right? So, of course, trauma can happen in adulthood, but this evening we are looking at childhood trauma, right? How will childhood trauma affect you as an adult? Now, I normally say there are 5 basic soul needs, right? The need for love, the need for care, the need for attention, the need for affection, the need for appreciation, right? Now, between the ages of 0 and 7 are the formative ages of a child. That's where, everything about that child is formed, their beliefs, their values, the way they see life, which is why, okay, so let me just go there since we're there already. It is important what we model to our children while our children are growing up. It is important. Because sometimes we say to ourselves, oh, I'm just going to tell my child to do this. I'm going to tell my child to do that. No, children learn from what they see you do, not what you say. It doesn't matter what you say. So I experienced this when my children were younger, right? I don't know whether you experienced it at all. They would take my shoes, as little as 3, 2, 3, 4, right? One day I came home and it was even my son that did this. Actually, I remember doing this even much more than my daughter. I just saw him. He went into the room, put his legs inside my heels, right? Carried my bag and put powder on his face, and then he was walking around the house, and I'm like, what are you doing? It was simply because he had seen me do that over and over and over again. So he's seen what I'm doing, and as far as it's concerned, whatever mom is doing, whatever dad is doing is okay. I can do it. And that is why it's important what we model to our children. So, I mean, it's no news. This popular couple, well, now they are popular. Not, I mean, in my own opinion, not for something very good. That they've been in the news for a few days now. The woman that talked, the allegedly, because now he's saying that it wasn't his passport that tore. Oh my goodness! Now, they all their shenanigans is okay. They can carry on with their shenanigans or whatever they're doing. But I actually had to comment. I said, don't involve the children in your nonsense, because it's nonsense. Because now you're confusing them. 1 minute, the children are saying the mother shouts and behave like that in public. And they're thinking, okay, so if I'm angry, anytime I'm angry, even though I'm in public, I can shout, I can scream, I can destroy things. Now you wonder this child grows up and starts to display the exact same behavior. And you're wondering, oh my goodness, that's not how I brought you up. That is how you brought that child up. So I say to people that for us as coaches and therapists, we are putting out a lot of fires. The house is on fire. They are calling us, oh, Coach Jola, oh, Coach Vivian, oh, we need you to do this. And so we are, rushing there like paramedics, putting out the fires. But guess what? Trauma can be perpetuated if we don't stop it. So the onus is on us who are bringing children up now to say to ourselves, no, I will not perpetuate trauma. I won't pass this down to the next generation. I've had people say to me, no, we in our family, we are very angry. When we get angry, have you heard that before? As if it's a badge of honor. When we get angry in our family, it's very bad. Don't try us. That's the one. And you have to take us like that. Excuse you. Take you like how? No, you need to come to a place where you say to yourself, no, I will not perpetuate trauma. And I think I listened in, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? And one of the speakers, I was talking about emotional intelligence. I think that is so important for us as parents to understand emotional intelligence, understanding our emotions and the emotions of our children and the other people around us, and understanding how to manage those emotions, because otherwise we will keep perpetuating this trauma, and it will be actually a lot of work to actually, help these adults, because traumatized children grow up to become dysfunctional adults if they are not properly passed through the process of healing, of counseling, of coaching, and of therapy. Okay, so what does childhood trauma look like, right? So we talked about childhood trauma, but let us quickly look at a few things that you can say, okay, if this happens, because the truth is, I had a session with someone last week, and the person was telling me some of the things that were happening, to her with some family members. And by the time she was done, I said, Google emotional abuse, Google psychological abuse. Do it now as we speak, because my sessions are very practical. Say, Google it. What is emotional abuse? What does emotional abuse look like? What is psychological abuse? What does it look like? Google it. And the person was like, I said, can you see any sync between what you're reading and what you have experienced at home from your primary caregiver? And this person was in shock that, oh my God, I didn't even know this is abuse. Yes. A lot of times people don't even know that they are being abused. A very simple definition of abuse is abnormal use. So you ask yourself, what is the use of a child? What is the use of a child? What are you supposed to do with a child? 5 basic soul needs: love, care, attention, affection, appreciation. So as a parent, I have a responsibility to love my child unconditionally. I have a responsibility to care for my child. I have a responsibility to give attention to my child. So when my child comes to me and say, Mommy, I want to talk to you, or Mommy, please carry me. These children, they put up their hand, for you to carry them and all of that. I say, go away. Why are you disturbing me? I'm so busy. Don't come here, don't. You are not giving that child the attention they need, the love, the care, the appreciation. The child does something for you, saying, is it not my child? Is it not my child? Appreciation, attention. Because these are the things, they are basic soul needs that children need to grow up as functional and stable adults. So let's quickly look at a few of those things. Number one, childhood trauma can look like sexual abuse, right? When a child is abused sexually, and oftentimes when these sexual abuses occur, it occurs from a close family member. And sometimes what makes it even worse is when this child, 6, 7, 8, tries to tell their primary caregiver that this happened to me by this family member, they don't believe them. Or sometimes, and this really breaks my heart. Sometimes I hear, I'm sitting with adults, people who are, of course, adults who were traumatized sexually, and they said, I tried to tell my mother. My mother didn't believe me. That's so heartbreaking. Why would a 6-year-old make up a story that one uncle is touching them indecently? Why? And this is one thing I say to people, even now talking about abuse generally. If a victim comes to meet you, excuse me, if a victim comes to meet you and say, I'm being abused, this is happening to me, because it takes a lot of courage for a victim to voice out and say, this thing is happening to me, a lot of courage. So when they come and say anything happened to you, please believe them, because not believing them is actually hurting them all over again. And I remember when we had the unfortunate incident of this singer Osinachi a few years ago, and everybody was saying, she should have left. Why did she stay there? Oh, and then people were just saying, and I said to people, if don't judge what you don't understand. Don't. You don't know the dynamics of this. Just leave it alone. You don't have to give your opinion every single time. Right? And I said to them, I said, look, any kind of abuse, right, starts with psychological and emotional abuse, because the perpetrator needs to work on your mind. Needs to make you see that, no, you are not good enough. Or, I'm doing this to you because I love you. So they will have said all sorts of things to manipulate the mind of that child. And so if the child now begins to think that, I don't think this is right, and then one day they decide to tell someone and you don't believe them, is like you're crushing the soul of that child. So sexual abuse can happen in childhood, and it can happen to both male and both female. Sometimes when we talk about sexual abuse in childhood, we think it's only the male, we think it's only the female, we think it's only the female that gets abused sexually as a child. No, even the male children. In fact, statistics of the male children is so high, it's just that they rarely report it. And the same thing with even adulthood abuse. It happens as well, right? It's just that they rarely, I think 1 in 7 now, the last time I checked, 1 in 7 men do get abused, but they don't report it. Whereas for women, it's 1 in 4. Right? So yes, sexual abuse can occur in childhood. Also physical abuse can occur, right? You will say, and I think I was saying this a few days ago, that especially those of us who are from Africa, we say, oh, why would I not beat my child? That even the Bible say that foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction, we chase it out. And then you carry the big cane. You are hitting the child and hitting the child. And oftentimes the child doesn't even know why you are beating them. You know how you just, because the child will be wondering, okay, if it was because I didn't take my plate to the kitchen, and I'm experiencing this much beating, so something is seriously wrong. Because oftentimes, and in Western world, right, it's an offense to actually hit your child. Talk less of spanking your child. Is an offense that is punishable by law. Why? Because there's a very thin line between abuse, physical abuse, and discipline. And because sometimes as parents, we discipline in quotes, we discipline our children out of anger. The Bible says anger rests in the bosom of a fool. And anytime you take any action out of the emotion of anger, I'm not the one that said it, it's the Bible that said it. You're a fool. Not me said it, the Bible said it. So that is why sometimes when people say they are beating or disciplining their children, they're actually abusing them. By the time you beat somebody, there's scars, excuse me, there's scars on their body. That's not discipline. That's abuse. And I often say to people, I say, look, what is discipline? Let's actually critically look at it. Someone has done something, a child has done something you don't like, and you don't want them to do it again. Right? So first, there has to be that conversation of, this is what you did. You're not supposed to do this. What did you? And then you start beating at me. And you know what happens over time? I'm sure some of us, right, in school, when you were in school, and you know that, okay, I did whatever in the classroom, and my teacher is going to beat me. It's like you're already ready. I remember some students back then. Oh my goodness, the things we did as children. Some students will pile newspaper in their bum because the teacher will beat me. So as the thing is not touching their bum, it's just touching the newspaper. And even sometimes some of these students are now used to, maybe it's just to beat me, and the beating does not change. In fact, instead of it changing them, it's making them worse. It's actually making them worse. So I say to people that if you say you want to discipline, right, you must actually understand, the child must understand what is going on. What is going on here? Why is this being done to me? And then they must understand that there are consequences for that. So sometimes discipline can be taking away the phone of the child. Then you are grounded. No TV for the next. So something that will actually make the child feel the pain that they've done something wrong, not hurting them physically. Okay, so that's sexual abuse, physical abuse. Of course, there's also emotional and psychological abuse and verbal abuse in childhood, right? This is when the caregiver, the primary caregiver, or a close family member constantly shames, it can be body shame the child, call the child names. You are so foolish and stupid. Look at your leg like chicken. You are saying that to a 5-year-old. You constantly tell the 5-year-old, look, your head looks like coconut. You just, how would I coconut head? And everybody's laughing. To a 6-year-old. That is destroying the esteem of that child. That is the time you're supposed to be building the esteem of the child. I say, horrible. Excuse my vernacular, right? Meaning, you are so fat. And you're telling, look at, you are so fat and ugly. I had a client that said to me, my mother used to tell me that I was very ugly. Mother, she wasn't adopted. Say, my mother used to tell me that I was very, look at you, are very ugly. No man will marry you. Who does that? That is diminishing the esteem of a child. You are supposed to be building their esteem. And lots of people go through this in life, right? And then you have neglect or abandonment, where the primary caregiver is not present. Today they are with grandmother, tomorrow they are with one uncle, next tomorrow they're just all over the place. It affects the normal growth and development of a child. And then, of course, we have bullying in school, right? In school or even in family, we have sibling abusing one other sibling. We have a cousin abusing one other cousin, the child, and all of these things affect. They are all childhood trauma. Of course, the loss of a loved one. Maybe when one of the parents dies, and the child is just suddenly left alone. They don't know, what to do. They are now with strangers and stuffs like that. That can also be traumatic. And of course, as well, witnessing domestic violence and abuse is also a form of childhood trauma. So you grew up in a home where there's always shouting, there's people, but there's always fighting. Nonsense! Do you mind me? And then that is not even so. Think about a child growing up, right, in a safe and stable environment as a plant growing up in a fertile soil. Farmers, before they actually go and plant anything, they prepare the soil. They make sure the soil is ready. They keep putting fertilizers. They keep watering, tilling the ground, making sure that ground is nice and ready for the plant to grow. And when the plant is grown, they are still very careful to go there. They remove weeds from there. They are taking care of the soil. Why? So that the plant can grow up properly and produce the fruit that they're supposed to produce. The home is the soil where children are supposed to grow up. They've been planted in that home, and the home is supposed to be conducive for them to grow up. Now, a home where toxicity is present, where there's constant shouting, constant beating, fighting, name calling, two adults always at each other's neck, is a bad soil for a child to grow up. Remember, I said children learn by what they see. Now, in case of domestic violence and abuse, and I've taken a lot of people through coaching and therapy, who witnessed domestic violence and abuse. And for some of them, right, they grew up to be perpetrators of abuse themselves. Now, I'm not talking about adulthood abuse, so I won't go too much into that. But in adulthood, a perpetrator of abuse can be a narcissist. It can be somebody who witnessed abuse. It can also be a victim, right? And I will explain that real quick, right? So a narcissist, that's a personality disorder. You can Google all the traits of that. Now, someone who witnessed abuse, because children learn by what they see. So this child grew up in a home where anytime daddy is angry, he will shout at mommy. He will slap mommy. He will throw mommy out of the house. He will do. And so even though that child is looking at that, and this was typically what happened to, a client that I had, and the person was saying to me that, I hated it when my dad did that. I didn't like it. I felt so sorry for my mom. I told myself, I would not do this. I would not be like this. I will not be like that. But now here I am. I'm exactly what I said I would not be like. And I said the explanation is very easy. Because you don't You don't grow up to say, I don't want to be something. You grow up into, I want to be something. So what do you want? Because your brain cannot process negative. Not is negative, right? So if you put anything, I don't want to be sad. If you say, I don't want to be sad, your brain will delete don't want. I want to be sad, because sad is negative. So that's why I say to people, what do you want? Focus on what you want. Forget about what you don't want. What do you want? Because our words also bring energy. Our words are energy. Our words are powerful. The more you say it, the environment will bring that vibe towards you. So what are you saying? Have you ever said to yourself, oh man, I don't want to be tired though. Hey, tomorrow I don't want to be tired. And then tomorrow comes and you are so tired. You're like, oh, but I don't want to be tired, because you kept calling tired. I'm tired has to answer you. Right? So what do you want? So children, so that's it. So this person, I said to this person, I said, look, it's because you saw this thing. You saw the way things were handled. So when there's conflict, instead of two people sitting down and saying, okay, what can we do about it? It was always noise, shouting, screaming, somebody. And even in instances where one party is louder than the other party, right? The energy that is being released in the home is still toxic, because energy can be felt. Have you ever entered into a space, and even when you entered into that space, maybe somebody's house, or you went to an office or something, nobody was saying anything, but you just kind of felt uncomfortable. You just felt, well, what's I don't know, so this place, you just felt kind of irritated, even though nobody had said anything to you, everywhere was quiet. It's because of the energy in that environment. So maybe that particular office, they're always shouting at each other, they're always fighting, so the environment is toxic. Nobody needed to say anything for you to feel it. And then have you ever entered somewhere and then you felt peace? You felt, oh my God, I could sleep off. I remember somebody came to see me one day like that, and in the middle of our conversation, the person slept off. And I woke up, I just left the person, and the person said, why did you wake me up? I slept off. I said, wow. I said, it's the energy. The energy here is peaceful. That's why you slept off. So energy can be felt, and this energy is passed across to our children, whether we like it or not. Because think about it, the soil, the environment is the soil. So they are in that. So it's just like you say, you have a soil and you say, oh, there's somebody came to plant some things, or there are some things that will affect your soil, or one plant that will not allow one plant to grow very well. And you say, but this one, they are on this side, those one, they are on this side. It's as long as they're on that soil, if the soil is infected, it will affect every other thing on it, all the plants on it. So when children witness domestic violence and abuse, now in the United Kingdom, they used to say that children who witness domestic violence and abuse are pseudo victims, but now they are primary victims. They also need the as much coaching and therapy as the direct victims of the abuse does, because something has happened to their brain and they need to be wired. Their brain needs to be rewired. We need to detox those negative patterns they've seen and because see, your normal can be abnormal. Oh yes, something might be normal to you, but it's very abnormal. So you grew up in that home, toxic home, where anytime there's any issue to be dealt with, is shout, you baby, everybody's just shouting. So as far as you are concerned, when people are angry, right, when there's conflict, it's shouting. So you will see anywhere they go, even if there's no need to shout. Have you ever been to maybe a public place like a bank or somewhere, and a customer is trying to speak to somebody, and then the person is shouting, and then the advisor is saying, please, ma, it's not fight, please reduce your voice. I'm not shouting. And you're like, but you're shouting. No, I'm not shouting. Don't mind me. This is the way I am if you're meeting me for the first time. And this person, as far as they're concerned, they are not shouting. But because it's normal to them, that's the way devoid they have everybody's voices in their house. That's the level. It's normal. But that normal is very abnormal. So in cases like that, when people like that are growing up, you need to start to check, this thing that I think is normal, is it really normal? It's very abnormal. right? So let me go on very quickly because of time. So that is what childhood trauma looks like. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's look at a few negative pattern that may indicate there's unresolved childhood trauma, because sometimes people don't even know that the things that they are dealing with as an adult was because of what happened to them as a child, right? So I'll just rush through it because of time. So number one, avoidance or dissociation. When somebody never wants to confront an issue. I've ever met somebody like that, or maybe you are even somebody like that, right? You never want to confront an issue. Every time, anywhere there's an issue, something happens to you, you will rather avoid the issue. You rather cut off. You just, these are the kind of people that their relationship turnover is very, very, very rapid and quick. So today they're very close to somebody. Next month they're not close to that person again. Then the following week, because when and see, when you are in any kind of relationship, there'll be disagreements because you are not a robot. The other person is not a robot. Both of you are two intelligent adults. And so there will be times that you will disagree. But when it's disagreement, when there's conflict, what to do with conflict is to resolve it. But when you've gone through childhood trauma, instead of resolving conflicts, you always avoid. You dissociate yourself. You just disconnect. You never want to deal with any issue. And this could be maybe when you were growing up, anytime you wanted to go and say something to your primary caregiver, they just shut it down. No, keep quiet. And mommy, I'll tell you something. No, I'm busy. Right? They never gave you audience. Or even when you speak, they tell you, nonsense. What are you saying? What do you know? Yeah, shut up. So they always shut you up. So now, because see, shutting you up is affecting your esteem. So you then came to a place where you say to yourself, I'll just keep quiet. Instead of them shutting me up, let me just keep quiet. Let me not say anything. And so you grew up like that. Right? Another negative pattern to show that there's unresolved childhood trauma is hypervigilance. You're always thinking somebody's coming. You're always looking over your shoulder. You hear a sound. You just shake. You're always startled. Always startled. Right? It means that there's unresolved childhood trauma. Something happened to you as a child and you've not resolved it. There also could be physical symptoms, pain in the body, stomach issues, body aches, or somatic complaints. There can also be, harmful relationship patterns. Now you struggle. There was another person that I was speaking to the other day, and by the time the person told me, oh, this is the things that has happened to me as a child, and I said, what you just explained to me is abuse. And I said that, I said, tell me about your relationship. He said, I don't have any relationship. I don't. I can't even get into a relationship. Anytime I think about a relationship like this, I just run away. I said, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, because if you experience childhood trauma, right, especially verbal, psychological, emotional abuse, you will struggle with relationships, right? So number one, you either be too clingy, right? So you always want to cling to the person. You are calling them 25 times a day. Hello. And then you are always thinking people are angry with you. When you're in a relationship, and you always, someone said to me the other day, they say, are you angry with me? I've not heard from. I said, what did you do? Why should I be angry with you? But when you always feel, and that is because when you are growing up, right, they always find fault with you. Is it that your bed is not laid, or you didn't wash the plates very well, or your uniform is not properly ironed? There was always something you did wrong. And so in your mind, you've come to a place to say to yourself, there's nothing special about me. I'm always wrong. And so when you get into a relationship, you are thinking, you are walking on eggshell around people who haven't given you any reason to walk on eggshells around them. Is a sign that there's an unresolved childhood trauma. Difficulty in emotional regulation. You cannot manage your emotions. 1 minute you are happy, next minute you are sad. When you get angry, that anger pushes you to do things. You will have done something, slapped somebody, broken a plate, broken the TV door. You just find it difficult. Because listen, when you go through trauma, right, there are 3, sometimes 4 responses. There's a fight, there's a flight, there's a freeze, and there's a fourth one. So fight, flight, and freeze mode. Fawn, the other one is fawn, but not, we don't usually use that. So the three one is fight, flight, and freeze mode, right? So what is fight? Fight is maybe you were bullied, you were taken advantage of, you were the last born, and so everybody just chanced you. You never had a chance, to speak up your mind, to say anything. So as you didn't like it, so as you are going to say to yourself, once I'm free like this, nobody will abuse me, nobody will bully me. And then so even things that it's not, sometimes, have you ever said to somebody, it's not fight now? Have you ever said that to somebody? This thing is not fight now. It's not that. Calm down. Because they are actually on the defensive, on the attack. Like, okay, before you even say you want to do anything, me, I will attack you because I don't want to go through that experience I went through as a child. That is trauma. That is trauma, right? So that's and then for some people, they just freeze. They freeze. So anything that happens to them, they will not talk. They probably will not get on. They will not be thinking of, I actually don't like the way that person spoke to me. I don't like it. And then they will now be dealing with the pain when the person is not there. That's freeze. And for some people, they will run away. So I already talked about that. Instead of dealing with the issue, they are always running away from issues. Always running away from issues, right? Of course, some people engage in destructive behavior, self-harming behavior, where you don't like yourself from childhood. Now, imagine that person that the mother used to say to her that you are very ugly, no man will marry you, right? Imagine that kind of a person will have grown up with a lot of self-hatred, because anytime the person looks at themselves in the mirror, look at my nose, look at, and then compare. So one of the psychological and emotional abuse is also comparing one child to another. In fact, sometimes siblings. You say, look at how fine your brother is. Look at how ugly you are. Don't ever say that to a child. Don't. Did that child create themselves? In fact, it is you, the mother, that we should be asking you. Are you not the one that gave birth to the child? But it's not, this is what I'm telling you, they are real. I've seen a lot in my career of coaching and therapy and doing therapy. A lot. And you'll be like, So, like I said at the beginning, right? There are some fires that has been set. We are putting them out by the grace of God. But let us make sure no fire is started from us. That no children that come from us will say, I went through trauma. Wherever you are right now, begin to say to yourself, I can start to correct things. So if you didn't know, because sometimes you might not know something, right? You might be sincerely wrong. There are people who are sincerely wrong. They didn't mean to do you any harm, but they didn't know better. In fact, the truth is, the generations above us, our parents and grandparents, they didn't know. They didn't know any better. Right? I know of families, who when they were growing up, everybody, it was strict, nobody. In fact, growing up, I can't even remember that we shared hugs. I mean, I grew up in a very stable, loving Christian family, but we didn't show emotions like hugging and stuff like that. It was only when we grew up as adults that we began to hug. I remember when I was leaving my dad a few weeks ago, I just held him like this. I can't remember even holding him like that when I was growing up and going to school. But we started hugging now because back then they didn't know. But the moment you know what they say. By the time you wake up is your morning. Even if you wake up at 12 midnight, is your morning. Get up and start to change things around. So you can start to change it. Speak positive words to your children. Especially your girls, tell them, oh, you are so beautiful. Tell your son, you are so handsome. Oh, you are so intelligent. That they do something for you, say thank you. The fact that you give back to them doesn't mean that they are your slaves. Every human being deserves respect. Every human being wants to be respected. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So comparing one child to another is very wrong. It destroys the esteem of that child. And in some people, it's hard. Some of the things I see, I just like, God, just help me. Adults who are so dysfunctional. Sometimes, Have you ever said to someone, why are you behaving like a child? You're just behaving like a child. This person is so childish. It's because the little child in them is hurt. The little child, oftentimes we have to work on that little child, work on the little child, work on the little child to make that little child happy again. So speak up. If you have not been doing it before, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad. Just from this moment, love upon your children. It's not a sign of weakness to show affection. It's not. So for those of us who are Christians, go to the Bible. See how God is affectionate to his children. All over the Bible. Look at that parable that Jesus Christ told us about the man, that the prodigal son. When he came back, what did the father do? He held him in a warm embrace. He hugged him, even kissed him on the cheek, on the cheek. Right? So it is okay to show affection to your children. It helps them have self-esteem and confidence. Right? So let's quickly start to look at, my time is fast spent, how to begin to heal, because you need to heal. If you don't heal from what hurt you. So I believe from, a little bit that I've shared, we will have looked at our lives and say to ourselves, okay, yes, I was traumatized as a child. This happened to me as a child. Okay, this is why I'm behaving like this, because of that thing that happened to me as a child. It's fine. It is in the past. And I say to people, listen, your past is in the past. In fact, the fact that you are now realizing that you are traumatized, right? One thing I must tell you that you mustn't allow to happen to you is resentment, anger, or bitterness. Because if your parents knew better, they would do better. I'm telling you. If they knew better, they would do better. Oftentimes, people do the things they do that hurts other people because they don't have the capacity to do better. And what I say to people is, listen, right? Understand that this person probably that's how much they know, but don't put yourself in harm's way. Right? Don't put yourself in harm's way. So you are going on the road and then you see this guy that you used to go to school together, and now he has his trouser on his head, he has his shirt tied around his waist, and he's laughing hysterically, and he's carrying a cutlass and dancing on the road. I say, that is a Philip Bonze. I just made that up. It's not your real name. That's Philip Bonze. We went to school together. Oh my God, what happened? I can't leave Philip Bonze on the road. I need to take Philip Bonze to my house and look after Philip Bonze. No. How many people would do that? And then maybe you are trying to go to Philip Bonze and he was chasing you with a cutlass. He wants to cut your head off. I say, no, it's okay. Let me just hold my head to my neck. And they say, I have to help Philip Bonze. Philip Bonze, come inside my car. Let us go home. You won't really do that. Why? Because you'll be putting yourself in harm's way. So even though you know that this person is trying to hurt you, wants to, cut you with that cutlass, but they are not okay. If Philip Bonze is I used to know Philip Bonze. He will never hurt me. But because now he's dealing with psychosis, he's trying to hurt me, I need to remove myself from harm's way. And just hope and pray and try and get help for that person. So you need to heal. Right? If you don't heal from what hurt you, you will bleed on the people who didn't cut you. And a lot of adults who experienced trauma and have now grown up to be dysfunctional adults, they are perpetuating their pain to their own children, to their spouses. So for some people that have come to me for therapy that they are in an abusive relationship, by the time we start to dig deep, begin to chunk down, we realize that the abuser, right, was also abused as a child, experienced childhood trauma. So because they've not healed, they are perpetuating the pain of their childhood trauma to their spouse or to their children or to people around them. If you don't heal from what hurt you, you will bleed on the people who didn't hurt you. Hurting parents will produce damaged children. Write that down. Hurting parents will produce damaged children. And let me tell you something about children, right? This will also help you. We normally say, oh, my children, oh, my world, they are my life, they are my heartbeats. You are lying. Stop lying. No, stop lying. They are not your children. I got you there. You are just a caretaker. Because if they are your children, when they are praying to God, they will say, Grandfather, we come to you today. Help us to be good children. No, they don't say grandfather, they say Father Lord. You too, when you want to pray, what do you say? Father Lord. So God doesn't have grandchildren, He doesn't have great grandchildren. So you are just a caretaker. Children are sent to the world through you. You are just a vessel. And listen, you have a responsibility. So think of a caretaker of a house that maybe you lived in. You know, that caretaker will behave as the landlord. They will say, okay, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, we need to do this, we need to do that. They want to make sure that that house is in a perfect condition. That is your job. That is your job as a parent. The children belong to God. And so you owe your children and God the responsibility of healing from your own childhood trauma so that you don't produce damaged children. You do. So let's quickly look at a few things. Like I say, healing is a journey. It takes time and consistent investment. You have to be ready. You have to be ready because the trauma you experience happened over time. So somebody that went through trauma of 20 years, of 50, of 15 years, of 16 years, of 18 years, you can't expect that the thing will just go away like that because it's like a wound. When you have a wound, the wound takes time and intentionality for it to heal. You know, people say time heals. Oh, don't worry, time heals. I say I beg to differ. Time alone does not heal. If you have a wound, if you have a cut, if you've broken your leg or you've broken your hand, and you just come back home and say, at least thank God for agbada and boo-boo. And so excuse my vernacular. Thank God for this. I have this big clothes that I can wear. And once I wear this big clothes, nobody will see my wound. And with time, this wound will heal. Will that wound really heal? Will it really heal? No, it won't heal. What will happen is the wound will start to actually get worse. It will decay. It can then become infected. And ultimately, they might say, oh, sorry, we have to cut this limb off because it is not really decayed. It's the same thing with the emotional wound. The more you leave it, the worse it gets. I stumbled on the statistics, even though it's not a fresh statistics. It was from December last year, that the psychiatric hospital in Lagos said they recorded 100% admission rates. Think about it. 100% admission rate. Because people don't deal with their emotional wound. They rather cover it up until it decays. It gets worse and it degenerates into a psychiatric disorder, psychosis. Because let me also quickly say this. I know I have a lot of African audience. When we're talking about mental health, right? Oftentimes we shy away from saying, I want to go and see a therapist. I want to, I need help in my mental health. Once you hear the word mental health, in your mind, you think, oh, is craze or madness, like we call it in Africa. No, because it's mental. Let's look at the two words, mental and health. Like we have physical and health. If somebody says to you, oh, I'm struggling with my physical health, are you quickly in your mind going to say, yeah, sorry about the cancer, and you have cancer, hey, so sorry, have you gone for dialysis? No, not dialysis. Have you gone for chemotherapy? You will not assume that it's cancer now, because the physical health challenges is not just one ailment. There are several things. It can be headache, stomach ache, all manner. In fact, they will say, hey, okay, so what did the doctor say? What did they diagnose you with? It's the same thing with mental health. Anxiety disorder is mental health. Depression is mental health. Insomnia has to do with mental health. Psychosis, schizophrenia has to do with, so they are different things. So if you're struggling in any way, please seek help. Right? So healing requires self-awareness. You need to be aware of what is happening around you. How do I behave? How am I behaving? Start to check your behavior, whether it is actually normal. Remember, I said earlier on that your normal can be abnormal. So being self-aware, stepping back, and sometimes I take my clients through exercise. I say, step out of yourself and assess yourself. Assess yourself. This person, what would you say? How would you describe this person? Are they mentally stable? Are there areas of their life where they need help and support? Self-awareness. If you are not aware of what is going on your inside, you cannot change it. So, how am I feeling? What are the things that trigger me? What are the patterns that I see in my life? So, for some people, you see a pattern that anytime you see a particular type of lady, you just get very angry. You don't know why, but it's a pattern. You just get upset. Or anytime you hear a particular name, you are just like really. So there's those patterns. And then you're saying, you know me, I actually don't like, hearing this name. This name just annoys me. Or people that look like this, they just really piss me off. No, there's a reason. What happened? Maybe there's somebody that hurt you that looked like that in your past. For some people, right, you want to get into a relationship, you realize that you struggle to trust that person. Or you are not safe. You don't ever feel safe with the person. You are hypervigilant. Or for some people, you get into a relationship and you marry and you have problems having sex. And it's a pattern. Something happened to you as a child. So you have to be self-aware. Not those negative patterns in your life. Not those things that are always triggering you. There's something that happened that you need to deal with. Something that happened that you need to deal with. Now, the second thing, so the first thing is self-awareness. The second thing is self-acceptance. Acceptance. Martin Luther King said, happiness can only exist in acceptance. Because at the end of the day, you cannot heal what you have not accepted. You can't. Oh, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. You know what they say? You can force a horse to the river, but you cannot force the horse to drink water. And oftentimes I've had family members come to me and say, "Oh, Jola, please, we know this person needs therapy. This person needs this." I'm like, is the person ready? Because you have to be ready. They can't say, "Oh, go to the hospital, you go and have operation in the hospital." You have to, in fact, before you have an operation, as long as you're an adult, you have to sign a consent form that I agree, you can cut me. But you can't get to that place except you accept that there's a problem. So if, for instance, God forbid, you go to the hospital and they say, "Oh, we've done an MRI, we've done a scan, we can see there's a tumor here and we need to operate and remove the tumor." I say to yourself, no nonsense, don't worry, there's no tumor. You people did not say, well, there's no tumor. I'm okay. Can they help you? They can't help you. If they say, the tumor is like, it's spread, it's plenty, let us operate, we need to help you. I say, no, I'm fine. You guys are not seeing well. Something is wrong with your machine, or you people don't know what you're doing. They can't help you. So you need to accept what has happened to you. And sometimes acceptance is actually one of the most difficult stages of healing. Because what you discover, what you realize will be very painful. Oh, wow. So this actually happened to me. So I actually went through this. It will be very painful. And you'll be saying to yourself, whew, I don't understand. I don't know. It could be very, very painful. But you need to come to a place where you tell yourself, it happened to me. I accept it. It happened to me. And the fact that it happened to me, right, it does not mean that that is me. Because I normally say something to people that you are not your past. You are not what happened to you. Refuse to take your identity from what happened to you. Refuse to take your identity from what happened to you. What happened to you, but you are not that thing. So you are not broken. I said, I will say, I'm broken. You are not broken. No, you are not broken. No. You only went through a rough patch. And you can heal. You can heal. So Self-awareness, self-acceptance, and then mindset overall, right? Mindset overhaul, rather. Because like I said earlier on, your normal can be abnormal. So ask yourself, these things that I'm doing, is it normal? And sometimes how you know whether your normal is normal or your normal is abnormal is to have a wider scope. You know what they say? That oh, bless you. Say this session. I know I've run out of time, but I'm going to round up in a minute. You know what they say, that somebody that has not gone to another person's father's farm says their own father's farm is the biggest. So travel. Some say, I don't have money to travel. You have internet. So when you are on social media, when you are on the internet, what are you looking for? Are you checking things that are going to make you more depressed? Are you checking things that are going to make you feel more less than you are? Empower your mind. Mindset overhaul. Things are not done like this. In our own village, the woman must kneel down to give the man food. That is respect. And then in 2020, you are minding my friend, you should be there to give you food. Excuse you. No, man cannot. Sorry, I'm hitting the men. A man cannot do any household chore. Only the woman. So I sit down, put my leg up. Both of you have gone to work and you just came back. Both of you were in traffic. I said, go and bring my food. That is the way it's done in Africa. We are Africans. We're Africans, but we're intelligent. So mindset overhaul. Some things that you think that are normal actually abnormal. Okay, now let's rush quickly. Healing requires embarking on a self-discovery journey. A lot of adults are living somebody else's life. Oh, yes. They are living somebody else's life because trauma will distort your identity. Trauma will make you take on a persona that is not even you. And that will create a constant dissonance in your core because you're not happy. You're not fulfilled inside because you're like, I don't know. And then sometimes it gives you bipolar disorder because that's you there. And then there's this other you that you think you should be. So self-discovery, who really am I? And a lot of times you can't go on the journey of self-discovery alone. You need a coach, you need a therapist to walk you through it. But you must discover your real you, your authentic you. And when you discover you need to begin to align with that authentic you. That is the only time you begin to attain that place of clarity, that place of fulfillment, that place of happiness, that place where you can achieve everything that you are designed to achieve. And that's so important, right? And lastly, I would say healing from emotional trauma, childhood trauma, you need professional support. That's the truth. You need professional support. You need somebody to hold you through that journey because it's not an easy journey. Sometimes some of my clients, I put them like on a daily task. There was someone that said, every day, this is what you're supposed to do. Once you've done it, send me a message. Because it takes a lot of work. You are being used to something. Now we are trying to delete all of those negativity in your mind and reprogram something else. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And so you must be ready to invest the time. You must be ready to invest the resources. You must be ready to invest the money. Because sometimes they say, no, I can't trauma, I can't therapy, I can't pay, I can't do this one. So somebody was sending me a message that, they need it. And I gave them, say, they're asking for money. I said, if you are going to the hospital, even to take care of a wound, just something happened on your hand, is it going to be free? Will you not pay for it? Because see, what is important for you, where your heart is, there your treasure is. If it's important for you, and let me just tell you this and end this, your mind is your greatest asset. Your mind. The best investment you can make is investment in your mind. Now, so you said to yourself, I want to become a medical doctor. I said, okay, that's fine. Go to school. I'm going to go to uni and, go through uni and then go to medical school. Now, when you go to uni, right? And you went through school and you graduated. When you graduated, did they give you a big, a suitcase with dollars inside? They said, now you have graduated, you are now Dr. Show. Here is, 100 million or $100 billion. This is what you get after you become a medical doctor. Did anybody, because I really want to know this school, that school. If anybody got that when they graduated, please, I'm begging you, send me the details of the school. I would just want to go to that school. No, hardly no. What they do is they give you a piece of paper. They'll just give you one piece of paper like that. This is your certificate. But what is that piece of paper representing? 100 level, you went to class. They did not give you anything. They say, take biscuits or take this money. No, you went to class, you sat there. Somebody came out, talk. Then I did say, yeah, write exam. Oh, okay, now you pass. That means what I've been saying is inside your head. 200 level, 200 level, 400 level, till you graduated. Then we are going to graduate. Write exam again. Now they can see that all of those things they've been talking about is inside your head. But was school free? In fact, if you hear the amount of school fees they are calling for nursery these days, millions, I'm like, they're in nursery school now, please calm down. No, school is not free. You paid to get that knowledge, but that knowledge has become an asset so much so that when you go to outside and you say, I am a doctor, here is my certificate, then they give you a job that makes you earn loads of money, thousands and thousands and millions and millions. What is making you those millions and that money? Assets, the mind, the knowledge, the investment you made for 7 years into your mind. And guess what? Nobody can steal that knowledge from you. Let's drink water on that. The knowledge that you have for those 7 years to become a medical, nobody can steal it from you. It's inside your head. Investment in your mind. That is why you will see billionaires, they make a bad financial investment, they lose all their money. They are not depressed though. Are they depressed? Have you ever? No, they're not depressed. Give them 3 months, they made all the money back. Because what made them the physical cash is here, the investment in their mind. So if you want to bridge the gap between your potential and your performance, if you want to heal so that you can fulfill your purpose and be all you are created to be, you must be ready to begin to invest in your mind. I'm the soul doctor. My name is Jola Grace Emmanuel, and I'm so passionate about the health and the healing of it. So thank you so much for having me tonight. I've been so blessed to be here and to be able to share. God bless you. Thank you all.
Wow. Something is already scrolling on the screen. Can you see it, ma?
Bless God. Thank you.
Can you see?
Thank you.
People do not want you to go. The whole comment section is on fire. They don't want you to go. Oh my goodness. Every one of them is raving you. Every one of them is saying, Omo, this session is this. Omo, this session is that. You have already started a process with us, right? We are so grateful. It's such an honor to have you. I dreamt, I prayed, in fact, that you will be here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, ma?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. And this is a dream come true, I must confess. I prayed for it. I want, because I've listened to you, followed you secretly, learned from you, like I've just been preparing for that very day when I will sit like this and hear you one-on-one on this platform. And I'm grateful to God. There are a lot of parents are here, parents of young children, listening to you and knowing that one of the things that is our core in the academy is self-discovery. You cannot raise a child and you don't even know yourself. Yeah. Self-discovery is our core. In fact, you took everything from the foundation. Every one of us is so good. People are thanking you, raving in the comments. They don't want you to go. God bless you abundantly. Everybody is thanking you. We are so
That's,
grateful. It's such an honor to host you. Again and again, we will still come back. This is just a preamble. We are coming back because, like you said, hurting parents will produce damaged children. A lot of us adults are really, really hurting.
yeah.
And until you come into a closet like this, you don't know what people are dealing with, right? So I work with parents of young children, and then they come in into our programs, and the first thing they want to focus is my child, my child. And then by the time we start, the program proper, and the person starts, taking webinars
Mm,
and classes, the child is, Coach Vivian, this program is actually not my children thing.
it's
This is
me.
now me like finding myself, like I'm
Mm,
even the one that is the problem.
yeah.
You hear parents say things like that. I'm even the one that is the problem here. So it means that there's an inner work that a lot of us come into parenting and we've not done that work.
Yeah.
We came into parenting with a lot of assumptions. Of course, I'm the parent, I know what to do. This is my child, right? So we are coming again and again. We want to have keep learning from the wealth of your knowledge, especially because many of us were raised in a lot of dysfunctional homes and
Yeah.
have been traumatized as children and have negative patterns that are programmed over the years. And then these things are sitting deep. So we can't
Yeah.
make progress. We want to just, move. It's setting us back. We want to focus on the children, hide under the children to just like, many of our parents did. They want to hide under you to find their own fulfillment and purpose, right? And then when the child is not responding to that, you go haywire. We don't want those kinds of parents. We want to enjoy in the evening of our life.
Yeah.
And the only way is to really sit down and do the work, the inner work that we need to do to heal from anything that is limiting us. And I
Yeah.
know that's your job. I know you are you are the real deal. Like I've already told them when introducing you, the soul doctor will be here and you'll be hearing directly from her. I am so honored. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. The Proactive Parent Academy is grateful
Thank
to have you on
thank
this platform. And
thank you.
I said, we will come again and again. And I hope to also, I hope we'll have you, respond to us. Thank you so very much. I'm not seeing any question for you.
Okay.
Everybody is in a sober moment now. Like everybody is in a sober moment. Like the place is on fire. We are thinking about ourselves. You have really blessed me. A lot of people are saying, thank you so much, man. You have blessed me and all that. God bless you. Thank you so very much. So we'll leave it to Ron while we
Have
conclude the session.
all
God
right.
bless you, man. And you too. Alrighty, this is the end of day 5. Amazing, amazing session. I knew that this will stir up an awakening for us to know that it is about us. It is about the things that are limiting us. It is about the things we want to use our children to cover up. I was talking with a parent this afternoon, and she said the daughter is going into senior JSS1. And I asked her, how old is this child? She said 9, she'll be turning 10 and all. And I'm like, why? Why is a 9-year-old turning 10 going to school? She's not even turning 10 in 2024. She's turning 10 January 2025. And she started narrating all the things that she didn't get as a child and all that. And I said, that's trauma speaking. That's trauma speaking. A 9-year-old have nothing to say emotionally, psychologically, mentally, no capacity that will build a 9-year-old to go to school. Just the way you people push around 15-year-old to go to university, and they come out and they can't find their feet and they're depressed. Anxiety is everywhere. That's why they're killing themselves, because they have done all the ones you want them to do and they are stuck. So the next thing is, so what? Where do we go from here? So it is important to know that you can't find your fulfillment in trying to use your children to do a cover up. You must do the job of inner work to be able to find that fulfillment. That's our job in the Build Your Home Tribe. We are raising young children, we are raising people who we want them to see that we have done our part. And our part is in part of the modeling to them is also to make sure that we find our footing so that we become their greatest encourager and greatest hero. They see us, they know that, oh, if mommy could do it, if daddy could do it, right? And while we are building their character, building their behaviors, like Oluwatoyi shared, it can harness, we can, put it together, right? So it is important that we understand this perspective. First thing we do in the Build a Home Tribe is actually the journey of self-discovery. We have a guide, the Ultimate Bundle Guide, that takes you a journey through a journey. In fact, I go through that guide every month to do a kind of, you know, walk of knowing where I am at a specific time. So that guide is the beginning, the foundation of what we do, in the Build Your Home Tribe after we have sorted our family values and vision. We use that guide to walk through a journey of discovery. And like I said, for me, I continuously refer back to that guide to be able to look at where I am on the pedestal. So thank you everybody who have listened to her, listened to this conference in the past 5 days. Do not stop at that. Get into the tribe. Get into the tribe. The tribe is our training ground. That's where we train ourselves to be able to train our children. And the world, the global stage where our children are living, is such a fierce one at a time as this. God bless you and see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow is the grand finale. If you know anybody who have not been joining live, I see a lot of people watch the replay and all that. Make sure you join live tomorrow. This night, I'm going to receive a fresh rema from God concerning tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day. We have 2 sessions before my session, and that's where we close the conference and then begin the journey of excavation. I call it excavation because that's the beginning of the journey after the conference. Thank you again and again, everybody. The ones I'm seeing on the stream, Ami, NK, Princess, Rebecca, Nabi Kechinonye, all the people that are here. Jane has always been, in the forefront in this conference. God bless every one of you. And interestingly, many of these people are parents of the tribe. They won't joke with it because they know what it entails. It's been a journey for all of us. I'm so grateful. I'm so honored. We'll see you again tomorrow by the grace of God in the grand finale. Make sure you drag everybody in your circle to be part of the grand finale. Tell your children's school, tell your church people, tell your neighbors, send the link to your relatives. Let everybody be in that grand finale. There's a word that for everybody who will be in that session. God is sending a word for every one of us in the Proactive Parents Conference 2025, 2024. I beg your pardon, for that session, in that session. We'll see you tomorrow by the grace of God. Enjoy your night rest. Bye, everyone.